This is a video I've been wanting to make for a while now, so I just want to get into it. I very first started talking about Ian a long time ago on the channel, like back when I very first started. It was it was the very first video uploaded on this channel, and I know I don't talk about him a lot anymore, mainly just because there's not really a lot of news or anything about him anymore, but I kind of want to talk about something more than just news for Ian in this video and actually look into what is next for his career. We all know Ian's had his biggest year so far in 2020, which isn't really a lot considering he's only really been in the game since like 2019. So the fact that Ian is already mainstream in a year of being a part of the rap game is crazy. Obviously, we know all the basic stuff. He met up with Internet Money, all the industry plant stuff started coming out, and that's kind of basically how we got to where we are today. Ian and Taz out of falling out. They're good now. There's been a lot that's happened, but like I said, I want to actually look at what is next. I don't want to say Ian didn't do a lot in 2020 because, like I already said, it's been his most successful year, but in terms of just releasing music, Ian has not done a lot this year. Obviously, like I said earlier, in 2019, Ian dropped Nothing's Ever Good Enough and Industry Plant, both projects with Internet Money. And then we got to 2020 where Ian very first released Dior Chain on his SoundCloud, and then it got taken down, probably either because that was a Nick beat, so he was going to give it to someone else because of the falling out with Internet Money, or because the label just didn't want Ian having that up. So the first real single we got this year from Ian was Good Day right at the beginning of the year, and then we later got Sick and Tired, and then we didn't really get anything up until I'm Gone. And then obviously in the summer, Ian and Golden dropped Mood. That blew up. It's still mainstream right now. It's been #1 for multiple weeks in a row. And then it's went back to being #1. That's just been a huge song this year. And then after Mood dropped, or at least around the same time, Internet Money dropped their album, which Ian was on Kobe or Lost Me. That was a leak that probably a lot of Ian fans knew for a while now, but it was still cool to see Ian on Internet Money's album and now officially have a song with Lil Skies and Lil Mosey. And while we are talking about features like the Internet Money album, Ian actually also did a feature this year. He actually did a few. He did one with Snot, there was one with DJ Scheme, and then there was those couple punk songs that released, Ego, Tonight. Ian was features on those, and Ian actually also featured on I Can't Sleep, which dropped at the very beginning of this year. So it's not like Ian hasn't dropped anything this year, and that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say, like, where is Ian gonna go from this? I think it's no doubt that this next album Ian puts out could be the biggest album of his career. I am not saying that Ian is gonna fall off or that he's already at his peak right now, but I'm just saying that at least for what he has out right now and how mainstream and how known he is now, this will be his biggest project that he puts out. Now, for Ian to solidify himself as like a rapper, a pop singer, an artist, whatever he wants to be labeled as, for him to solidify himself as like officially here to stay, I honestly think this album has to be great. We know that this album is going to have some Spanish songs on it, it's going to have some punk rock, some sad stuff, probably some pop stuff like Holding On. Now, just from hearing that, it does not sound like it's going to end up being that good to me. Not that the music's not going to sound good or anything like that, and I don't really know how many people actually care what a project sounds like, but all those sounds on one album would be really weird in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, you can do stuff like interludes, so there's ways to make it work, but I just think it would be really pushing it for Ian's second album. And real quick, I do want to make it clear that I'm not trying to hate on Ian or his album before it's even out. I'm just trying to say that, at least for me personally, when I go into an album, at least for my first couple listens, I like to listen to it in order and actually like trying to get a tone or a feel for an album like how old projects used to be. And that's what Trippie Redd's Pegasus does, for example. But I'm just trying to say that that's why I think it would be weird fusing all these sounds together. Ian could definitely pull it off, and maybe you guys don't care about it like that. That's just coming from a personal opinion though. There is no doubt that this second album Ian puts out is going to be way more versatile than what Industry Plant was. And now lastly, one more thing I do kind of want to get into. Taz and Ian have been hyping up a Nothing's Ever Good Enough 2. Now, I don't actually know if that's what this would be. It might not actually be named Nothing's Ever Good Enough 2. I honestly think what the name of this project could be is Nothing's Ever Good Enough Ever, because that's the last thing Taz said about it. Taz tweeted Ian saying, "Let's make a Nothing's Ever Good Enough 2 at Ian Dior," and then Ian said Nothing's Ever Good Enough 2 ? And then Taz said Nothing's Ever Good Enough Ever. The actual name could for sure be Nothing's Ever Good Enough 2, and I don't think that this is the album name or anything like that. I think this is going to be just some EP with a whole bunch of old sad Internet Money songs that we might either get before the album or sometime after the album. But then again, let's not get our hopes up too high, because I'm not saying that Taz lies, but he likes to tweet out projects and stuff that he would like to do, and I don't know if he ever gets the time to do it. He's done this with stuff with Lil Skies, Trippy. He's even said that there was collab tapes with Tekka. We've had a lot of stuff like that who knows if we're ever actually gonna get it. I think that this would definitely have a more likely chance of being made than something like a collab tape with Skies. But even Trippy, for starters, Trippy signed to 10K Projects, which is at least associated with Internet Money and iann Dior. And Tekka was one of Taz's favorite artists, at least at the time. He helped blow him up. Taz knew about him and actually believed in him before anyone else did, and that tape still never came out. Then again, that could have had something to do with label issues or something, but I'm just saying that don't get your hopes up too high for this project. I would be down for some kind of Internet Money iann collab tape again. I think they're a great duo. I think that's when iann sounds his best, and I would be way more excited for Nothing's Ever Good Enough 2 or whatever that ends up being than what the new album might have on it. I'm not just a fan of iann's sad stuff. I do like some of the punk rock stuff. I like Tonight with Jaden, and I like Sick and Tired a lot, but it's just not my favorite from iann. And I don't think the Spanish music would be bad either. I think Adios Amar sounds like it would be a good song, but in general, I would just rather hear stuff like Nothing's Ever Good Enough or Industry Plant over what we've been getting now, like I'm Gone and stuff like that. I do think Holding On was a step in the right direction. Holding On is one of my favorite iann songs, and I'm glad that he put that out for a single on the album. But yeah, I don't know exactly what's going to happen with this next album. I think iann needs to make sure that it has all great songs on it, so that will really just solidify him as being a mainstream artist from now on. Because if this album gets mixed reviews or it doesn't perform that well, that might not be very good for iann Dior's career. And I'm not saying that his whole career should be focusing on being mainstream, because it shouldn't be. But I'm just saying, if iann wants to make the biggest impact with this album, this is going to be the time to do it, because he's just coming off of this success from Mood that everyone knows and that was hugely mainstream. But like all of my other videos, these are just my opinions. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Are you excited for this Nothing's Ever Good Enough 2? Are you excited for iann's new album? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you guys are new here, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I made a second channel that's starting in 2021. I'm going to be posting a whole bunch of other kind of content on there, so if you want to check that out, link to that is in the description down below. I also have an Instagram, that's ComplexProductions999, and a Twitter, @ComplexDiscuss, and I have a SoundCloud where I repost your guys' music, and I make a playlist every month for new songs I've been listening to that month. If you guys want to check any of my social medias out, everything is linked in the description down below. Thank you guys for watching. And thank you guys for the support with the channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.